Hello and welcome to Love Drug. I'm your host, Jose. In the show, we find a muscle's perfect drug. Today we have an interesting show with the three drugs lidocaine, sodium nitroprusside, and verapamil, all competing through a series of questions and answers for our muscles' love. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Chris and Michael, as well as the Physiology channel. Now let's meet our drugs. Here's lidocaine. Here's sodium nitroprusside. And finally, there is verapamil.
And everybody having a ball.
Hi everyone, my name is lidocaine and I work at the UCSD Medical Center as a local anesthesiologist. I'm normally used in dental treatment and minor surgery.
What up, homies? Sodium nitroprusside, SMP for short, and currently I'm working in the plumbing industry as a nitrogen oxide donor. I'm normally used to lower high blood pressure, but recently I've been offered a job in treating schizophrenia, so check me out.
Hey, my name is verapamil. I have a lot of jobs in the medical field. My specialties include treatment of hypertension, cardiac arrhythmia, and most recently cluster headaches. So if you're experiencing a migraine or your heart skips a beat, just give me a call and I'll vasodilate you. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's meet our muscle, uterus.
Well, hello guys, my name is Uterus and I'm a smooth muscle found only in females and a hormone response productive sex organ. I'm a visceral type, so my units work together. I am completely independent, being able to contract on my own. My favorite food is acetylcholine and my favorite drink is Tyrodes, which I have right here with me. I like to depolarize slowly through my L-type calcium channels. When an action potential occurs, calcium comes in through my L-type calcium channels and it binds to camaldulin, which activates myosin light chain kinase, where it then uses ATP to convert inactive myosin ATPase to a phosphorylated active myosin ATPase, which equals contraction. Yeah! Now, to relax myself, calcium activates potassium channels, allowing potassium to get out and also activate the circuit pump to allow calcium back into the SR. And then it also deactivates L-type calcium channels, so no more calcium can come in. And lastly, sodium-calcium exchanger allows calcium to go out and allowing 3 sodiums to come in. And that's how I relax. Isn't that awesome? And now, lastly, I am on this show because I want to see what drug best fits me. Yeah! Thanks!
Well, now that we've met our guests, let's begin the questions. You go, Uterus.
Alright, so my first question is, what would you do to my amplitude of my contractions?
Well, if I were given the chance, I would decrease the amplitude of your contraction. However, this completely depends on whether or not you have voltage-gated sodium channels, because I block those channels, causing most cells to not depolarize. However, you're a uterus smooth muscle, therefore you don't really depend on voltage-gated sodium channels. But I think you might have enough for me to have a tiny effect.
Okay, if I were given the chance, I would decrease the amplitude of your contractions. I would do this by activating your potassium channels. This occurs because I am an NO donor and I go through a series of processes that activate the potassium channel. First, I activate guanylate cyclase, which is followed by an elevation of cGMP. Next, stimulation of G kinase occurs. Then, the phosphorylation of potassium channels causes the channels to activate. By activating the channels, I stimulate calcium to leave your cell, causing you to relax. Therefore, you decrease in amplitude of contraction.
If given the chance, I would bind to your cytoplasmic end of your L-type calcium channel. That way, no calcium will be able to come through your L-type calcium channels and you'll have no more contractions. You'll be super relaxed to death.
Okay, those are some pretty nice answers. For my next question is, what do you do to my frequency?
Well, I would probably have a minuscule effect on your frequency of contractions and cause you to contract slightly less than normal. This is because I make it harder for you to depolarize by blocking your voltage-gated sodium channels.
Well, if I were given the chance, I would decrease the frequency of contractions. I do this since I activate the potassium channels, which drives calcium outside of your cell. By driving the calcium out of your cell, there's less calcium within your cell. Therefore, you need more time to stimulate a contraction by building up more calcium within the cell.
So since you're already in a relaxed state, you would have no more calcium coming into your cell. Therefore, you would have no frequency.
Interesting. Next question is, what would happen to the duration of the contractions on our first date?
I'm not supposed to affect your duration because I'm not involved whenever you repolarize. Is that okay?
Well, I would decrease your duration of contraction because, again, I activate your potassium channel, which pushes calcium outside of your cell. This means that you hyperpolarize and therefore relax much faster than you normally would with another drug.
Well, since you have no contraction amplitude, you would also have no duration. So therefore, you would experience no contractions whatsoever.
I see. Well, next question is, would there be a change in tone after our first date?
I would not change your tone because you already have a nice tone.
Well, you already have a pretty nice tone, but let's be honest, I can make it much better. I'll decrease your tone by activating your potassium channels, which causes calcium to leave your cell. When there's less calcium in the cell, that means that there's less preload. Therefore, your tone will be lower.
Well, as my good friend SMP already said, you have a pretty nice tone, but unlike SMP, I can give you an even nicer tone by reducing it even more, since you already don't have any calcium inside your cell.
I wonder how my date with lidocaine would be.
Accumulation in the cell membrane, the duration will be longer.
Whatever. I wonder how my date with SMP would be.
I can show you the world. Shine.
It's just like
It was okay. I wonder how my date with verapamil would be. Well, these drugs aren't for me. I choose you, Michael!
Well, that concludes our show. Catch us next time on the Physiology channel, where we look for Michael's true love. Till then, keep on contracting.